제가 했던 방식은 받아쓰기 많이 했어요. Don't just look at the subtitles right away. You need to guess what this phrase is first. Don't just look it up in the dictionary. Instead, guess. Now, in this part, you would use phrases or new things that you've learned. Now, can you notice this bottom part here? This bottom part is your output section. You're creating your own diary. I made sure to try. That means if we ordered food or we went to a restaurant, I insisted on ordering. 무조건 제가 주문했습니다. I also was part of a language exchange group and I met these wonderful people through that language exchange. Even being part of a KakaoTalk group and in that group using some phrases that you learned every day or talking to each other or meeting once a month, it creates a place where you feel comfortable to use these kinds of phrases. Social is something that cannot be overlooked here. You cannot just do it by yourself. Make connections where you use these phrases, these things that you've learned together with other people. Now, when you're listening to these scenes and there's a scene that you're not quite sure about, this is where visual learning comes in. 제가 했던 방식은 받아쓰기 많이 했어요. 그러면은, I'm not really sure what this person is saying. Then I would listen to it over and over and over again and try and write it down, okay? And then I would check the subtitles to see if I was right. I'm putting down what I thought and then checking it. This action is also very important. Don't just look at the subtitles right away. Instead, 받아쓰고, 이거 얘기하는 것 같은데? 내가 맞았다. This feeling, this 깨달음 is also very important. Now, let's say I wrote down the English, but I don't know what this means. Then you need to guess what this phrase is first. Don't just look it up in the dictionary. Instead, guess. 문맥에 이렇게 나왔으니까 이렇게. 그럼 이거겠네? Then guess, write it down, and then check. When you check, 맞았으면 그만큼 더 기억나는 거예요. 아니면 이거 틀렸네. Then write it down and make your own phrase with that. I always encourage my students to, when we're writing or learning new words, to guess the words themselves first. This is training their muscles. When you're taking a test or doing something or you're outside in the world, you don't have time to look up everything in the dictionary. And then if you do, 그거 바로 까먹을 수 있어요. 그래서 you're practicing and training, looking at the context. I think it's this. This is very important when you're doing visual learning as well. 그리고 I love my diary, right? I have a note-taking recommendation for you guys. Now, the style that I used is like this. So here you have 3 different parts of your notebook and then a bottom part here. Now, in this part, you would use phrases or new things that you've learned. And then in this, you would have explanation or the example that you got it from. And then here, make your own examples of this. Now, it doesn't have to be specifically about your life, just any kind of short example for you to practice. Now, can you notice this bottom part here? This bottom part is your output section. You're creating your own diary. Now, I really love diaries because they use spoken English and it's also a great way to use what you learned. So I use the phrases that I put here in my diary here. Now, this is just a small notebook. You could use a bigger notebook and use a bigger section for this, but this is the style that I recommend, especially for visual learning. This style worked really well for me. Now, when I say 받아쓰기, I don't mean listen and write everything. 어떤 날에는 시간 없을 수도 있고 어떤 날에는 이거 너무 궁금하니까 이거 특히 받아쓰기 하고 싶은데 doing only that part is enough. Don't push yourself to do a 5-minute clip writing everything down. 이거는 지칠 수 있습니다. Okay? Now, one more thing to practice for speaking when you're done is summarizing what you learned. Take the phrases and everything that you learned or the story from that scene and summarize it one more time in speaking. 혼자말로. In this scene, Gong-yu met the main person. She was delivering some Chinese food and she knocked on the door, but Gong-yu was only wearing a towel or something like this. We're summarizing the scene in our own words. 실수해도 어때요? 그냥 혼자말로 스스로 그냥 내뱉은 거예요. This also will help your speaking output as well. Now, 마지막, social. I am a pretty extroverted person, but I also like staying home. However, I didn't hide in my room studying in front of my desk. I made sure to try. That means if we ordered food or we went to a restaurant, I insisted on ordering. 무조건 제가 주문했습니다. 그리고 어머님이랑 자주 전화하려고 했어요. 실수해도 어머님이랑 또 친해지고 싶고, 그리고 잘하고 싶으니까 I called my mother-in-law pretty often, almost every day during that time. Now we live together, so I talk to her as well. I also was part of a language exchange group, and I met these wonderful people through that language exchange. Now, this was a really great way for me to learn because any questions that I had about Korean, I could always ask them. Now, this created sort of a responsibility because I went there every week and I spoke in English for them, and then we spoke together in Korean, and we motivated each other by doing this. So I think creating social kind of interactions and connections is very important when you're trying something new or trying to learn something. Even being part of a KakaoTalk group, and in that group using some phrases that you learned every day, or talking to each other, or meeting once a month, it creates a place where you feel comfortable to use these kinds of phrases. And it can boost your confidence and create a lot more comfortable atmosphere within your own, mindset. Because you believe that you can do it because you've been there, you've done that, and you know these people that you're comfortable with. So social is something that cannot be overlooked here. You cannot just do it by yourself. Make connections where you use these phrases, these things that you've learned together with other people.
I hear a lot of mistakes with favorite because it's a really common word that almost all English students know,